Hello, I am Akash,
Hello, I'm Han,
and we are researchers at Oxford University.
and today we're going to talk about our research, which is solar panel.
So, this graph I'm showing you guys is, many people say, is Bill Gates' favorite graph. I don't know if that's true or not, but it shows how much progress we've made as humanity in the last 200 years. We've seen since the Industrial Revolution, extreme poverty come down, more people are educated, more people are literate, less children die, more people are vaccinated against diseases, and more people live under democracies. Really huge progress has been made. But this progress has come with a sort of deal with the devil because the thing facilitating this has been energy use. The more energy we use, the better our lives become, but the more carbon dioxide we pump into the atmosphere. And this is unsustainable for two reasons. One, because the coal that we're burning will one day run out, and two is because it heats up our atmosphere, which causes all sorts of problems.
So, people are curious about where we can get energy from. We can get 2 to 4 terawatt from wind energy, 5 to 7 terawatt from bioenergy, 2 terawatt from hydro energy, 10 terawatt from geothermal energy, and 4.6 terawatt from tidal energy. There are a lot of energy we can get from geothermal energy, but this is not available from everywhere. So at 2017, for the whole humanity, we only needed to have 16 terawatt. So we can cover all this 16 terawatt energy using those five sources. But at 2050, our predicted energy usage is like gonna be 30 terawatt. So this time we need to have another energy source to get electricity or energy. So here we're gonna show another energy source we can get, which is our research solar energy. So using the solar energy, we can get 36,000 terawatt from the land.
Yeah, solar panels are definitely will be an important energy source moving forward. Solar panels were first demonstrated by Becquerel in 1839. It was a very simple wet chemical system, but it was able to take light and turn it into electricity. Fast forwarding 40 years, we have a selenium based solar cell by Fritz. This one is something that looks much more like what we have today. But really, the type of solar panels we use today, silicon based solar cells, were first demonstrated by Bell Labs in 1954. We have a picture of them testing it out. And to be honest, since then, the way solar panels look haven't changed very much. We use the same type of technology, silicon, and it's been going in more or less the same design. These can get up to modern solar cells can get up to 25% efficient, which is actually enough to solve the world's problem. It's important point we want you all to know is if we were started using solar panels, this is already good enough to solve a lot of the problems that we face. So for the future, you guys should remember we have the solutions. So we wanted to talk to you guys a bit about how a solar cell works. So on the left hand side, I have a diagram of a real solar cell. As we said, it's made usually from silicon. We have two different types of silicon put together, and on the right hand side we have what we call an energy level diagram. It's a bit complicated, but essentially, the higher up we go, the more energy there is, and the electrons, these are the bits of electricity, can only exist in a low energy state or a high energy state.
When the light enters in the solar cell, one of the electrons get excited to the higher level, and that time that electron is going to be extracted in the other side, whereas the another electron which has lower energy will replace it.
In this way, we have put in a low energy electron and taken out a high energy electron, which is how we've absorbed energy. The amount of energy that we can absorb is something we call the band gap. Remember this because it'll come up later.
The most of solar cells are made from silicon, but in Oxford in our lab we use new material called perovskite to make solar cell.
You might be wondering then that if we have something like silicon which makes good solar cells, then why do we use a different material? Well, here on this graph, we can see the progress in efficiencies for silicon over time. We can see that over the course of decades, silicon has gone from being relatively low efficiency to being about what we see today. Here is the graph for the perovskite material. In only 10 years, it has almost caught up to silicon. And the rate of progress is really fast, which makes it really exciting to be better materials used in the future.
The perovskite looks like, but this is not really important for now. But this material is very good because it's very good at absorbing light, and also it's very easy to produce, which we can use as some solution. Because silicon, whenever people use the silicon to make solar cell, they need to have some robot and they have a big like factory to make it.
Apart from it being good at absorbing light and being easy, the really good thing about it is we can change the band gap on the perovskite really easily. This allows us to combine materials with different band gaps together in order to absorb even more light at higher energy. We call these type of solar cells tandem solar cells. This is hard to do with silicon, but with perovskite it's really easy to do, and that's why we are researching it in Oxford. Of course, there is a lot of work to do still on the perovskite material. There's a few main challenges. One is stability. So this material, even though they make really good solar cells, they do degrade quite quickly. So some of the things we do in our labs is we try out new chemicals in order to make this material more stable. Like this graph here from a paper someone has published from our group. Another thing is called scalability. This means taking the small solar cells we make in labs and turning them into the really big solar panels you can put on your roof. This kind of work I personally do involves taking pictures of the solar cells to see how smooth they are and how good they are for making bigger modules out of.
And the last challenge is bringing it to the market. The way we make solar cells right now is not suitable with making the large scale. That's why I personally use different method, which is called evaporation. And my supervisor in Oxford founded one company, which is called Oxford PV. And that company is focused on commercializing perovskite solar cell. So maybe in the future, one day, you guys can buy commercialized perovskite solar cell and you can get a lot of energy without making any pollution.
Well, that's all we have for you. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you found that interesting and learned something new.
And also thanks for listening our presentation, and hopefully we can convince you guys to research green energy in the future and save the world.